with your host, Cosmontel.
Jehovih is as near this day as in the time of the ancients. Put yourself in order, becoming one with him. And no book is so easily read as his created universe. Inspiration comes less by books than by what Jehovih wrote. His worlds read him and his works. Frame your speech and your thoughts for him. He will answer you in your own behavior and in the happiness of your soul. Great wisdom cannot be attained in a day, nor purity and strength to overcome temptation, till the growth is from the foundation. The fool will say, the sacred books are no more than man of his own knowledge could write. Yet he has not wisely imitated the power of the words of your God. Let him do this well, and behold, he will also declare my words are from me. Yes, he will recognize them wherever found. It is the will and wish of your God that all men become constitutionally capable of receiving and comprehending the highest life, and that they shall no longer depend upon any priest, church, oracle, holy book, or upon consulting the spirits, and that their behavior may make the earth a place of peace, with long life to all people, for the glory of Jehovah. To his Etherian gods and goddesses, Jehovah said, as you have founded arcs of light in my Etherian heavens, to determine the travel of my corporeal worlds, so shall my God of the earth inspire mortals to build lighthouses for man's ships that travel on the oceans, and those who travel in the ships. And those on the land shall know when a ship nears the port, even as you see my traveling earth approaching the place of Cosmos. For this shall be an illustration to mortals, that I have appointed cycles of times and dawns of times, with gods and goddesses to superintend my creations in tenderness and love, lest by chance man becomes despondent, saying, alas, Jehovah did not provide in wisdom commensurate with the magnificence of his creations. Behold, the time draws near when the nations of the earth shall course around the whole earth in ships, crossing the seas and oceans to all the places I created.
Yeah, I feel good right now. The atmospheric green skies, the gang coming. I be be in and out. So leave that thing running, purified is preferred. Higher frequency, a higher bird. I observe on a different nerve. Breaking codes, I am the yoga. Deadly as a Ruger, straight and a shooter. Out the holster with this mudra. Inoculation with the wisdom. Creator shape my prism and hit them with no schisms. Reason turn the light up. Y'all disappointing like 9 to 5 and some write-ups. Something rearranged, let that boy cook. Organization 33, stay up in them books. Lead them boys shook. 46 divided, yeah, I'm Port Michael. It was only rightful that I came up in this cycle. They say they gangsters, but they telling it. Step outside, take off my shoes and let the sun hit my melon. Had to relearn that the herb be the medicine. It's the same matrix, so who you think you better than? Perfect.
Elevators on high, that's where my maker reside. I'm just his player besides my tribulation, my pride got in my way, but my God so liberating, yeah. So why you facing what you facing? It's really related, heavily sedated. Don't be for the taking, my peace I it. Hard to break it, they try to shake it. What come with them sides is at stake, that bill you cannot repay it. Yeah, a demon slide, I'ma have to slay it. Around pests all my life, now I ain't gotta spray it. Got that water on this way, gon' have to convey it. Got heavenly power in my house and I ain't gotta pay it. No, but spread love be my M.O. T-I-V-E, but they whining like CC. Full of laughter like hee-hee. Heath Ledger go ha-ha. All the praise to my dada. I've been drinking that agua. Now you might think it's sci-fi. Must been on that la-la. I'm so connected Wi-Fi. So disconnect that rah-rah like Tada. No magic though, my creator magical. Frightened that's an act, but I be studying like my daddy though. Miss my daddy though. Blame my father's why my family broke. Trying to break the choke. Devil's thirsty till I'm grab a coke. They don't want the smoke. Well, I'll load them in my catapult. Why told? Spirit got my back, that's a ladder. We dreaming, cold world in your freezing. We have them type of seasons, supply a reason. I tell you seeing is believing. I tell you seeing is believing. Now if you're dreaming, cold world in your freezing. Cover up while you're sleeping, supply a reason. I tell you seeing is believing. I tell you seeing is believing. Sometimes I wanna hide out, bump that I just ride out. Ain't no time to time out, gotta work and put that time in. Laugh and keep from crying, fight done throw that tile in. On my month like Shaolin, he blowing me up, I'm dialed in. Can you answer that? Stop the cheating while you glancing back. Keep enhancing that, and he'll bless you with expansion packs. Real and that's the facts, real surreal, not talking Apple Jacks. We them boys that attack, every day like every game is action packed. Yeah, I know he perfect, timing never right when I be fighting with the serpent. I know he know I see him, why he plotting, why he lurking. I just wash him, no detergent, and it's all up on the person. Put the work in, man. Cold world in your freezing. We have them type of seasons. We try to reason. I tell you, seeing is believing. I tell you, seeing is believing. Now if you're dreaming, cold world in your freezing. Cover up while you're sleeping. Supply a reason. I tell you, seeing is believing. I tell you, seeing is believing.
Peace to the gang. Peace to the righteous God, Nirvanian goddesses, man. Creator Gang is in the house. It's your hostess with the mostest, holding that fire like a roach clip. Your naga, your nerve, fresh up off of that curve, jelly jam and preserve, man. Right back at it like I left some. I want to play this new video from the sister Mayday. You dig what I'm saying? She asking, you know, a good question. You dig what I'm talking about delineation and who are you? You dig what I'm saying? So, you know, if y'all got some new hot music with a message in it, you dig what I'm saying? Y'all send it to Cosmon Cal TV. Cosmon Cal TV, that's my Gmail. You dig what I'm saying? And we'll get this thing pushing and get some of this new music out there, man. There's dope artists out there who don't get no light. You dig what I'm talking about? But if you rocking with Cosmon and the gang, man, you can't help but be in the light. This is Mayday. Her song is called Close the Ring. Shout out to my brother, my big brother Nasir. You dig what I'm talking about? Put me on this one. You dig what I'm talking about? Nice uplifting message. Closing the ranks. Shout out Mayday. You dig what I'm talking about? Sister Hard. Let's check this one out, y'all.
Question must be asked of the youth. Who are you?
Can I help you?
Yeah, I came to reclaim my birthright.
Peace, this is Mayday. Hit a call, no play, they got the mic check. 1, 2, making sure the message stays straight. This ain't a game, this is closing the ranks. Let's give thanks to the ancestors standing firm upon these ancient riverbanks. A TEP production, yeah, you know the sound and the heat. Camaraderie is the currency, success is tasting so sweet. Who are we? Where are we? Are we where we need to be? Still rooted in the soil, indigenous, we never deflate. Never deflate, never deflate. Closing the ranks, gotta unify the whole fam. Stronger together, that's the powerful battle plan. From the soil, from the land, yes, we're taking our stand. Unity's a bomb more potent than any quicksand. We're closing the ranks, hear the rhythm, feel the vibration. Protect the culture, the mind, the future of the nation. We were born free, not enslaved, understand the history. Reclaim the narrative, break the chains of false mystery. Nasir said make it plain, so the understanding is broad. Demons came with technology, their doctrines are flawed. Troublemakers of the earth, mental sodomies, the method, warmongering thieves. Where they step, everything shredded, the shedding the blood. They delight wherever they arrive, leaving massive voids, destroying everything that was alive. Reclassification scheme, a tactic to steal a terrain from aboriginal, indigenous to Negro, back and forth again. In 1 century, they tried to erase our foundation. From black to African American, confusion across the whole nation. But the wise men spoke truth, that shit in the deep stone. Our unity, one voice can never be overthrown. More powerful than atomic bomb, that's the calculation. Let's unite right now, fulfill the true spiritual obligation. Closing the ranks, gotta unify the whole fam. Stronger together, that's the powerful battle plan. From the soil, from the land, yes, we're taking our stand. Unity's a bomb more potent than any quicksand. Closing the ranks, hear the rhythm, feel the vibration. Protect the culture, the mind, the future of the nation. We were born free, not enslaved, understand the history. Reclaim the narrative, break the chains of false mystery. No more division, only precision, power in the vision. We rise as one, no ranks, close the mission complete. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I came to reclaim my birthright.
This is Jehovah Chronicles number 285. Right? Number 285. And the lesson today is, did they lie about Hitler? Right? Did they lie about Hitler? They told us a bunch of different things about Hitler, right? Why he hate Jews, he exterminated them. You dig what I'm talking about? All this and this and this and that. But y'all never explain what y'all did, right? Why was he mad? Did y'all do something to him? Did y'all do something to his country? Let's get some of the real behind the scenes of what was going on with Hitler, right? And it's probably going to be a 2 to 3 part series because we're going to have to get into the Mein Kampf, what was happening historically at the time, and let him just explain himself. I always thought that it was weird that they said he was such a racist and he was hateful and all that, but they never said what he said. Right? Y'all never said what he said. Y'all said he killed off some Jews, and come to find out, these same 6 million small hats who were supposed to be unalived in Auschwitz gas chambers and riding around, people who were riding around shooting people, shooting squads, purportedly killed up 6 million. But funny part is the United States and Britain removed 6 million Jews out of Europe. So which one is it? Did they kill 6 million or were 6 million removed? And then come to find out, when you look at the real hard numbers of Jews that was in Germany at the time, there was only roughly 4.5 million. So how did you kill 6 million? And there ain't even 6 million there, right? So let's get into, this
World War
piece
II
right here,
didn't ignite
right? About, because they'll try to tell you also that Hitler started World War II. It's because of his practices that Hitler started the war. But is that true? No, it's not true, right? And we got to question everything in the narratives that they putting forward. You dig what I'm saying? Let me make sure I got the whoop-de-wop on this. I'm probably going to have to speed this up even a little more. Hold on. All right. Put that on there. Fair use, fair use, fair use. We're using this as teaching purposes only, man. Let's go.
World War II didn't ignite simply with tanks rolling into Poland in 1939. Its true origins are buried in a decade of humiliation, collapse, and betrayal. The Treaty of Versailles demanded 132 billion gold marks, plunging Germany into ruin as hyperinflation spiraled to 4.2 trillion marks per US dollar. While the world watched, a failed revolutionary named Adolf Hitler transformed his defeat in 1923 into a manifesto for vengeance and power.
But let's look at this. Let's look at this for real. Did he have a reason for being mad? See, they don't never tell you Hitler's side of the story. Yeah. After the war, everything's supposed to be cool. Y'all saying, yeah, we all won, you dig what I'm saying, and we cool and everything is straight. Y'all come on down to the center of the city so we can we can party and have a good time when the war is over and everything. So a lot of the Nazis went down into the center of the city with the army behind them. So when they got to the center of the city, they opened fire on tricked them, put them in a pinned down area and gunned them down from all sides. Even Hitler got shot, right? When they arrested him after this, right, and he's sitting in the prison, that's when he writes his seminal work, Mein Kampf. They ain't tell you that part. They ain't tell you they turned on the man and shot him. Right? Oh, it's all cool, Hitler. Come on down, man. Everything cool, dog. Yeah. German nationalism, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, just walk in front of us, y'all. Yeah. Y'all go in front of us. We right behind y'all. Soon as them niggas got to the center of the city, they opened fire on them niggas. It was a setup from the get-go.
The real reason World War II started, it was a slow-motion disaster fueled by economic desperation, global indifference.
I want to show you, this is the decade leading up to 1939 in the beginning of the war. 1929, you had the crash, the economic crash that happened in America that went on across the world. 30 million jobless, democracy phrase and fascist rallies surge. You dig what I'm talking about in places like Italy. You dig what I'm talking about? Mussolini had fascism popping. You dig what I'm saying? So, you know, and then remember they shot Hitler 10 years before that. They shot him in 1919, 1920. Right? So it had been 20 years by the time we see Germany actually coming back up out of the 1929 crash and the joblessness and all this stuff. Now, you know, Hitler goes on to blame the Jewish banking oligarchy. You dig what I'm talking about? And Zionism for this, for what happened to Germany, right? And 2020 being hindsight, he was absolutely right, y'all. This 1929 crash where the banks called in their loans was done on purpose. Preceding what happened in 1933, the call in of the gold, we instantly go into what? A recession, not only in Germany, but in America. All across the world, right? He's saying this is done by the Jewish banking oligarchies.
And the rise of an ideology no
y'all.
one dared confront until it was too late. The question is, could it have been stopped before the first shot was fired? On June 28, 1919, Germany's fate was sealed with a signature in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles. The treaty blamed Germany alone for the war, demanding 132 billion gold marks in reparations, an amount so vast it equaled multiple years of the entire nation's economic output.
Dang.
Territory was stripped away, including the coal-rich Saar, Upper Silesia, and the industrial heartlands needed for recovery. 13% of German land was lost overnight. The country watched as Alsace-Lorraine went back to France and new borders carved up communities. More than 6 million Germans suddenly found themselves outside their own country, cut off by
How
lines
many?
drawn on maps. This was not just a political wound. Everyday life turned desperate. When Germany tried to pay its impossible debts, the economy fell apart. By 1923, the mark collapsed. Prices exploded by the hour. A loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. Banknotes became worthless paper. Workers were handed wages in wheelbarrows, only to watch their value vanish before they reached the shops. At the peak of hyperinflation, the exchange rate hit 4.2 trillion marks to every US dollar. Savings disappeared. Middle-class families sold jewelry, furniture, even their winter coats just to buy food. Shop windows filled with bartering, not cash. The old order.
I want y'all to understand that while this was going on in the rest of the world and you had the Great Depression and economic collapse starting in 1929, niggas didn't even know this shit was happening. We didn't know this was going on. Why? We had our own banks. We had our own schools. We had our own everything. We had our own farms. We raised our own animals. It was just a regular old day to us. Why would it hurt us if your bank collapsed, right? And we ain't got our money in your bank? We ain't got our money in your bank. Trying to tell y'all, brothers didn't even know this happened.
Crumbled under the weight of hunger and humiliation. The world noticed, but it didn't intervene. Britain and France focused on their own recoveries. The United States, untouched by the fighting, looked away. While Berlin burned through money, the international community left Germany to spiral. Despair ran deep. Faith in democracy evaporated as politicians failed to solve the crisis. Extremist voices found an audience among people who had lost everything: money, pride, and hope. In this climate, anger and fear became the only currency that held its value. The shattered promise of peace paved the way for those willing to offer radical solutions, no matter the cost. On the night of November 8th, 1923, shots echoed through Munich's streets.
Listen.
Adolf Hitler, a decorated soldier turned firebrand agitator, marched into a beer hall with a pistol raised. He declared a national revolution, hoping to topple the local government and seize power. But the coup unraveled within hours. Bavarian police opened fire. 16 Nazis died. Hitler was arrested, charged with high treason, and locked away in Landsberg Fortress. But the trial did not end his ambitions. Instead, it handed him a national stage.
Yep.
Hitler used the courtroom as a pulpit. Over 24 days, he...
Let me tell y'all a secret they don't know about. Let me tell y'all a secret they don't know about Hitler. Hitler was a Suis, or what we call a clairvoyant or a medium. Right? So Hitler's words had a different effect on his people. You got to understand the galvanizing nature of what he had going on was low vibratory and racist, right? But it was enough to synchronize and galvanize the people who are bouncing back out of dire straits. You dig what I'm talking about? They was just paying $2,000 for a loaf of bread. You dig what I'm talking about? One, they were saying, it would take 4.3 million to equal $1. You dig what I'm talking about? Hyperinflation was going through the roof. They don't understand that this man had a magnetic effect because he was Suis, right? I think probably tomorrow I'll get into it more, and we're going to break down some of Hitler's speeches. See, they always tell you Hitler was hated, and we're not going to deny that, right? We ain't going to deny that he had a dying hatred, but why? Right? And they call him everything. But you know what they never call Hitler? A liar. So one thing you can't call Hitler is a liar. And you hear those speeches, those fiery speeches. Guten Geiden, Husneichen, Guten Gi, Huten Futen Steigels, Hisneichen, Usneichen, Guten Nein. You dig what I'm talking about? That nigga was snapping. It sounded like he was a megalomaniac, like he was crazy. Huh? Until you decipher the German. And you hear that boy was dropping straight game. 100% on point. So intelligent. He was just hella passionate, and he spoke fast. Right? So when you do it in German, it sounds crazy. You dig what I'm saying? It sounds crazy. But nobody ever told us what he said. Let's go a little further, right? You're going to find out that you can call Hitler a lot of things. You could call him a lot of things, right? Some of the worst names, and he did some of the worst atrocities in the world. We're not denying that. But one thing you ain't going to never be able to call Hitler, you're going to find this out, is a liar. He told the absolute truth about what was going on. Right? And the whole entering Poland and all that shit, all a setup. You'll see. Watch this, y'all. I'm going to go back just a little bit. and let it rock.
16 Nazis died. Hitler was arrested, charged with high treason, and locked away in Landsberg Fortress. But the trial did not end his ambitions. Instead, it handed him a national stage. Hitler used the courtroom as a pulpit.
Listen.
Over 24 days, he spoke for hours in carefully crafted speeches. He did not deny his actions. He called them necessary. I wanted to be a prophet, but instead I became a political criminal, he told the judges.
I didn't know he said this. I didn't even know he said this. I wanted to be a prophet, but instead I became a political criminal. How is that even possible? Without a mass media pushing the ideology that you're some type of criminal. How do they even know this man? He had put together a movement already, right? Y'all got to understand the Nazi movement, right, was a response to Bolshevism. You dig what I'm saying? It was in response to Bolshevism that was tearing Europe apart. Right? Watch this. We're going to keep going. It's crazy that he said a prophet. Because we're going to get into some other information about who was really inspiring this man to do all this. How did he do it so fast? By 33, they ain't shit. Right? By 1933, they not nothing. They people starving. It's bad. You dig what I'm talking about? By 1936, 3 years later, he hosting the Olympics. Somebody need to study this nigga, man. On nation building, you dig what I'm talking about? For all that he did wrong, boy, he got some right in there too. Right? And we just take the right part of it. You dig what I'm talking about and throw the highlight on that, but we throw the highlight on all the lies too. Y'all can't bury the man, right? Y'all can't bury the man and then forget he's also a seed too. Right? And then Hitler go on to say he gonna be the cause of World War III. Why? Because the people who are the fake Jewry, who Bible say are call themselves Jews and are not, but yet are the synagogue of Satan, right? They gonna find out that black people in America are the true Jews. And when they find that out, right, he gonna say many of the black Americans are the true jewels, a jewel. He didn't say Jew. He said jewel of God. He said, then I'm going to be the cause of World War III. So they're gonna find out that I wasn't lying. Watch this. Let's keep cooking.
Newspapers across Germany printed his words. The failed coup became a rallying cry. An act of patriotism, not betrayal. The judges, sympathetic to his nationalist cause, gave him a sentence of just 5 years. He served less than 9 months. Inside his cell at Landsberg, Hitler began to write. He filled notebooks with his beliefs and memories. By 1925, his manifesto, Mein Kampf.
We're going to get into this too. We're going to read Mein Kampf, right? We're going to get into more of this tomorrow, right? You're going to find out he's not as crazy as they say he is. But the OG asked the most critical question. Why him? Suis. Huh? He was a clairvoyant. And the spirit inspired him, because you're gonna learn about Vril society, Thelema, all that stuff. They was fucking with Baba Vanga, all them. They was rocking with all of them. Right? They even talked to Tesla. As a matter of fact, the Germans, once Tesla wouldn't sell out, they sent a child spy, right, named George Herbert Scherf to burn down his to burn down his laboratory. George Herbert Scherf changes his name to Prescott Bush when he enters Columbia and the Skull and Bones Society. Prescott Bush, right, not only goes on to be head of the FBI and a senator, but he goes on to birth 2 children that goes on to be head of the FBI and 2 presidents. Why would a man named Prescott name his son George Herbert? Huh? It's because your name is already George Herbert. The Nazi connection, you got to understand, was deep in America. They rock with the Nazis. 1934, 1935. Guess who got the Nazi of the year? I dare y'all to say I'm lying. Guess who got the Nazi of the year? Henry Ford. Go look it up. We just gonna keep cooking. Huh? 1934, 1935, Henry Ford. Yeah, that guy from Ford Motor Company got the Nazi of the Year award. Let that sink in a second. Well, didn't y'all know they had a whole town in New York for Nazis? Oh, y'all ain't know that neither. Okay, we'll just keep. Maybe they lied about Hitler. Huh? It was just prudent to turn him into an enemy because you had to have a good guy and a bad guy, and you wasn't never gonna paint yourself as the bad guy, playing on both sides. You wasn't gonna never do that.
Pronounced Mein Kampf appeared in bookstores. The book blamed Germany's defeat on Jews, Marxists, and foreign enemies. It called the Treaty of Versailles a crime. It outlined a vision of racial purity and conquest, arguing that Germans needed more land to survive and flourish. The personification of the devil as the symbol of all evil assumes the living shape of the Jew, he wrote. These words would become central to Nazi doctrine, but Hitler's strategy would change. He realized that violence alone would not win Germany. From prison, he plotted a new path: propaganda. He studied how words, symbols, and spectacle could move crowds. Nazi posters flooded marketplaces and train stations. Rallies turned political meetings into mass theater. Hitler repeated the same slogans over and over. Simple, emotional, impossible.
Hold on. I want y'all to think of this too. If Hitler is a Suis, huh? Hitler got faith in iron genetics. Let that sink in. He got faith is genetics. If he is Suis, he got faith is genetics. Let that sink in. I ain't saying he was a faithist, but I'm saying it's genetics. Right? Spirituality come from who? All right.
To ignore. The swastika became a brand. The message was clear. Germany had been betrayed, but it could rise again. If only the people found unity under a single will. As years passed, the Nazis learned to turn anger into action. Their speeches railed against communists, Jews, and politicians who had stabbed Germany in the back. They promised hope instead of humiliation. In streets scarred by poverty and shame, these words found an audience. Hitler's defeat in Munich had taught him a lesson. Power would come not just from bullets, but from turning despair into belonging and hatred into purpose. On September 18, 1931, a railway explosion near Mukden gave Japan the excuse it needed. Within hours, Japanese troops pushed deep into Manchuria. The Chinese government called for help. The League of Nations, just a decade old, debated as Japan consolidated its...
Now we see all the players in the game. Do you see how... I never really understood why China got into the game, right? We seeing the play out, them stomping into Manchurian lands, right? China trying to ask the United Nations and America, like, yo, is y'all gonna do something? Bruh, we just signed this deal. What y'all gonna do? Japan out here taking heads, right? But just like science, right? Science tries to find the unseen cause behind the scene. Natural science, right? Well, what y'all gonna learn is science and spirituality are two sides of the same coin. Because the same thing science does, try to find the unseen cause. You dig what I'm talking about? Behind the scene is the same thing spirituality is doing, trying to explain the unseen cause behind the physical. Same thing. You dig what I'm talking about? And the key in both and in life is what? One thing, practice. It's not about being right. It's about keep trying to getting it right. Right? Huh? It's not about being right. It's about trying to be right. Huh? Check out a video entitled The Greatest Story Never Told. Shit, I've seen that video goes, on the story as well. Yeah, I gotta I'll check it out. You dig what I'm talking about? Ford also built a town in Brazil called Forlandi. Well, did he build it? Or was it funded by Germans and the Reich itself, right, under his name? Now, mind you, you did what I'm talking about when the Jews couldn't go to South America. They couldn't go nowhere else in Europe. Nobody else. They couldn't go to North Africa. They couldn't go nowhere else. Huh? They forced themselves in and colonized the people of Palestine because of the protectorate that London had over Palestine. Well, you would say, well, Cosmo, well, what the fuck do London got to do with Palestine, right? It was its protectorate at the time, right? Because remember, the whole thing that they're doing is what? They're trying to crush the Ottoman Empire. Huh? The land that they had got from the back previous from a time during the Balfour treaties. Way before this. Right? When the Balfour treaties were signed, how the Jews got into that, damn near defies logic. But what they ended up doing was forcing London's hand. Why? Because you got some niggas called the Rothschilds, right? Who are banking oligarchs, right? Shysters, shooksters, crooks, huh? Who had set up the world's bank and funded Germany and America and everybody else on each side. Remember, they had banks in these places already. Right? Why don't y'all ever take a look? Do yourself a favor. If y'all think Cosmon be lying, I'm capping or something, go look at the vehicles, the trucks, the Jeeps, all that stuff. Go look at the brand of the vehicle that the Germans were using during World War II. Who made the trucks? Right? Who made the Jeeps? Who made all the vehicles that you move people and things with? Ford. Every single one of them. Every single one of them made by Ford. So you telling me America was against this war? They want it in because it's lucrative. Right? And then think about what just happened. We dropped not only one, but 2 nuclear bombs. This was so devastating. Even the angels was worried about it. And see, that's the part we gonna get into. The why behind this, the unseen cause behind all this shit. Why Hitler? Hitler was special. I could say the same thing, but the same thing can be said about why Raymond Washington. Why Tookie Williams? Why Putting in Tam? Huh? They magnetic. They had the ability to draw. You dig what I'm talking about? And when you are a Suis, you're able to read these vibes coming in. That's why his voice and his pattern, he kept him in a state of frenzy and thinking. Right? Ready to act. Pow, pow, pow. He was a genius. Huh? Right? So they taking this land. So what did the Jews do? What did the banking oligarchs do? What did the Rothschild do? Huh? Mind you, them was niggas too that they didn't kill tough and put a crime family together. You dig what I'm talking about? These are your banking oligarchs, your Rothschilds. Huh? But do you know who is they kick and kin brothers? The gangster side of the family. They're called Rockefeller or Rockefellers. They are the mob, the literal footmen, soldiers mafia. That's the perfect word. They are the banking oligarchy mafia, right? One runs the business, one runs the streets, right? But they run it top down. So you only gonna see them unless you in a CFR board meeting. A Bilderberg group. Huh? It ain't gonna be no secret once you find out. Because see, truth get told. You ever had something happen and you ain't know how it happened, right? And you be like, man, I don't know what the heck. And a little bird out of nowhere that ain't have nothing to do with the whole situation come through and tweet it, get you to either look at it a different way or drop some game in your ear, and you say, well, and you unravel the thread. It was sitting there right in front of your face the whole time. It ain't happened. It's like that in the spirit world many times. Huh? They think this stuff's spooky, but yet you believe in a creator. You think this is spooky, but you believe in a God. Huh? Don't God got heavens full of angels? And what do grandma turn into? Nigga, we know grandma angel. What they forgot to tell you is them angels turn into gods and lords gods, and Nirvanian goddesses, Etherian goddesses, Otians, Eons, Emutses, Otans, like Shaysivi Antithotis. She's an antithoter. She's a reader of the light, a follower, a doer. Oten is a rank of a god, right? So it looked like it just say goddess, but her title in her name tells you she above people like Cynthia Maj. She above people like Lika, right? She Oten. You know what I mean? Just little stuff I'll be peeping out. You dig what I'm talking about? Just reading. Just getting more and more familiar with it, man. And the crazy part is, watch me show you something different every time, bro. I read this thing 300 million times. On the 300 million and one time, it's going to show me something I didn't see. Like, dang, that was right there the whole time. I challenged my brother Daryl Cosmon one time about I forget what it was. And I challenged him. And he was like, dang, I can't. You dig what I'm talking about? You right. You dig what I'm talking about? Man, this nigga went right in that and the answer was there that I was asking him. It was in the O. He went right up in there, pulled that jank up out of there. Like, here it go, right here. I was like, dang, I read that 1,000 times. I didn't see that. You know what I mean? So it's something different, man. It's just different. But let's get back to this, because they lied on your boy. Watch this.
Control League delegates met in Geneva, issued statements, and sent the Lytton Commission all the way to Asia to investigate. The commission took 7 months to deliver its findings. By the time their report condemned the invasion in October 1932, Japan had already set up a puppet regime, Manchukuo. When the League called for withdrawal, Japan simply walked out in March 1933. No sanctions, no military action, just speeches and paperwork. A few years later, the world watched again as Italy prepared to invade Ethiopia. In October 1935, Mussolini's armies crossed the border using tanks, bombers, and poison gas against soldiers on horseback. Emperor Haile Selassie pleaded for support at the League's Grand Assembly. Delegates applauded his speech, then debated for weeks. The League voted for sanctions, but oil and coal, vital for war, were left off the list. British and French diplomats hesitated, afraid of driving Mussolini toward Hitler. Over 8 months, Ethiopian cities
Just let him
fell.
take it.
By May 1936, Mussolini's troops entered Addis Ababa. The League's moral authority crumbled on the world stage. Member states saw that aggression brought rewards, not consequences.
Huh? Gucci Man said, pressure, pressure. These boys under pressure. And we know what pressure do to pipes. Mussolini applying pressure. Japan applying pressure. Germany applying pressure. And the world too scared to do anything about it. So yeah, countries like Egypt and all that stuff, they get caught up in the rush. Right? Italy is just allowed to walk in. America ain't got his hands up like, I ain't got nothing to do with this, man. Y'all go get Mussolini started, man. And you know he be tripping. Right? They were scared.
In the corridors of Geneva, doubt replaced hope. League officials drafted resolutions and declarations, but dictators took notes. The lesson was clear. Borders could be redrawn, treaties broken, and the world would watch. The promise of collective security faded.
This is the League of
Door
Nations.
opened for those willing to test how far they could go.
Now called the
On
UN.
March 7th, 1936, German troops crossed
Oh,
into the
dude.
Rhineland. Under the Treaty of Versailles, this was strictly forbidden. The German soldiers carried little more than rifles and nerves. Hitler had told his generals, if France resisted, to pull back at once. But France did nothing. British leaders called it a coming home for the Germans.
He punked them.
The League of Nations filed protests. No action was taken. For Hitler, the gamble paid off. The demilitarized zone was gone, and the German army stood on the border of France. Nearly 2 years later, on March 12, 1938, German forces rolled into Austria. This was the Anschluss, the annexation of Hitler's homeland into the Reich. Crowds cheered in Vienna. Austrian officials surrendered without a fight.
Now they paint him as this conqueror, but actually in history, the people is looking at Hitler like a liberator in the line of dudes like Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great. Yeah, coming with military might and force, but for the people who being oppressed, you know, the Macedonian rule is shit. It's better to try them than, you know what I mean, than these Persians we got. Man, well, what we gonna make Alexander? Hell, let's make him God. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah, just give him the crown. I'm not fighting Alexander. You about to fight Alexander? No. You dig what I'm, yeah, let's get this nigga the crown real quick, man. And if we give him the crown, he'll wipe out the Persians. Yeah. Y'all see, if you actually read history, you'll figure out that when Alexander the Great entered Egypt, he didn't go to war. He liberated Egypt from the Persians. So it's all about perspective. Because to the people in the Anschluss who got brought back into Germany, nigga, we got food now. Man, we was dying over it. Look at these people. Look, hold on, look at them. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me go back. Look at these niggas. That's in Hungary. That ain't over there in the Rhineland. Them people was like, oh hell, Hitler. That's my nigga. He like Trump.
Hitler's homeland into the...
Yeah, we may not like him, but he is about America. To a fault. Crazy part is they asked him about the future in the Fourth Reich. He said, nigga, when it pop off, you gonna have a German president in the United States. Anybody want to guess where Trump's family's from? Just saying.
Reich. Crowds cheered in Vienna. Austrian officials surrendered without a fight. Britain and France raised objections, but their cabinets were divided. Some feared another war would be worse than any humiliation. French Premier Edouard Daladier hesitated, his generals warning that France was not prepared for a direct confrontation. The Anschluss stood unchallenged.
Dang.
Germany grew larger, more powerful, and more confident that the West
Come up
would
the video,
not
share the live out, y'all.
In September 1938, Hitler demanded control of the Sudetenland, a border region of Czechoslovakia with a large ethnic German population. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain and Daladier flew to Munich for talks. They wanted to keep the peace at almost any cost. Over tense negotiations, they agreed to Hitler's terms. Czechoslovakia was not at the table. Chamberlain returned to London waving a piece of paper declaring peace for our time. But the Munich agreement gave Hitler exactly what he wanted, without firing a shot. Outside Europe, some newspapers praised Chamberlain for averting war. Inside Germany, the message was clear. Aggression brought rewards, not resistance. Hitler boasted to his generals that he had seen his opponents up close and found them weak. Daladier, facing crowds in Paris, admitted privately he felt shame.
Said, I seen them niggas. I seen them up close. And I found them weak. Ooh-wee. This boy is not playing. Stop playing with this nigga, bro.
Hitler boasted to his generals that he had seen his opponents up close and found them weak. Daladier, facing crowds in Paris, admitted privately he felt shame, not relief. The policy of appeasement had bought a few months, but at the price of trust and security. Each concession made the next demand easier to justify. By the spring of 1939, the map of Europe had changed. The hope for peace had become a dangerous illusion. On August 23, 1939, two men stood in the Kremlin and signed an agreement that would change the map of Europe.
Watch this.
The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, named for Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov and Nazi Germany's Joachim von Ribbentrop, was presented to the world as a simple non-aggression treaty. The real deal, however, was hidden from public
Stalin.
view. In secret, the two sides drew lines across Eastern Europe. The protocol divided Poland along the Narew, Vistula, and San rivers. Germany would take the west, the USSR the east. The Baltic states were split as well. Estonia and Latvia fell to Moscow's side, while Lithuania was promised to Berlin. The Soviets claimed Bessarabia, eyeing new ground on Romania's border. These arrangements had nothing to do with self-determination. Stalin and Hitler agreed to carve up whole countries behind
Boys got hella
closed
5
doors.
mustaches.
The pact destroyed any hope that the West might deter Hitler. For Poland and its neighbors, it was a death sentence sealed in ink before a single tank crossed the border. At 8 p.m. on August 31st, 1939, 6 SS men led by Alfred Naujoks stormed the Gleiwitz radio transmitter near the German-Polish
hold on.
border.
I gotta run this
They
back.
carried pistols and war.
I gotta run this back, right? This is going to be the setup to pull Germany into war. They was trying not to. Watch this. I gotta let y'all because this is the so-called introduction into Poland. But watch how it's done. Watch this. This is crazy.
At 8 p.m. on August 31st, 1939, 6 SS men led by Alfred Naujoks stormed the Gleiwitz radio transmitter near the German-Polish border. They carried pistols and wore civilian clothes. Inside, the German staff were forced to the floor as Naujok's team seized the microphone. A Polish-speaking SS operative read a short message in Polish, declaring the station in Polish hands and urging attacks on Germans. The signal only carried a few words before being cut, but it was enough. Outside, the body of Franciszek Honiok, an ethnic Polish prisoner, was dressed in a stolen uniform and left as evidence of a firefight. SS doctors had drugged him before he was shot.
So, did y'all see what happened? Did y'all peep what just happened? Right? They had some German niggas who really German, right? Front like they Polish, right? They really SS, but they came over there and hijacked a German station, radio station, and started speaking Polish. Like, we got these niggas start attacking the Germans. You dig what I'm talking about? This revolution start right now, right? Declaring war on the Broadway, speaking on the airways, speaking to the Polish people. That right there is a pretense for me to enter into your land and stop you. Tricky games. Watch this. Tricky games. All is fair in love and war. I'll start my own war. Watch this. Let's go back. And then they set up a Polish nigga, dressed him up as a SS nigga, killed him, right? Oh, y'all done killed the SS member. Really, he a Polish nigga, dressed up like a SS member. So you can't tell the difference between the SS, a Polish man, and a Jew. Why? Because they all the same people. Watch this. Let's go back. It's the setup. They brought themselves into the war. Huh? Watch this, bro. This is diabolical.
Tank crossed the border. At 8 p.m. on August 31st, 1939, 6 SS men led by Alfred Naujoks stormed the Gleiwitz radio transmitter near the German-Polish border. They carried pistols and wore civilian clothes. Inside, the German staff were forced to the floor as Naujok's team seized the microphone. A Polish-speaking SS operative read a short message in Polish, declaring the station in Polish hands and urging attacks on Germans. The signal only carried a few words before being cut, but it was enough. Outside, the body of Franciszek Honiok, an ethnic Polish prisoner, was dressed in a stolen uniform and left as evidence of a firefight. SS doctors had drugged him before he was shot. By dawn, Nazi radio blasted the story of a Polish raid. The next morning, German troops crossed the border. Hitler told the world Germany was responding to unprovoked attacks.
Nigga slick.
The war had its pretext, scripted the night before in a Silesian radio tower. On August 23, 1939, the Molotov, Ribbentrop Pact's secret protocol carved Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. Just 8 days before the German invasion of Poland. This was not a sudden act of aggression, but the final step in a long chain of failures. The punitive Treaty of Versailles in 1919, hyperinflation that reached 4.2 trillion marks to the dollar, and a global depression that shattered faith in democracy. Documents from the League of Nations confirm repeated warnings ignored as dictators seized Manchuria, Ethiopia, the Rhineland, and Austria. Despite volumes of evidence, some Soviet-era files on negotiations remain sealed, and the full decision-making process behind appeasement is still debated by historians. Today, the record is clear. World War II began not with a single event, but through years of crisis, compromise, and unchecked ambition. The evidence shows how international paralysis and misguided peace policies made war all but inevitable.
Right. We'll get into this tomorrow. This is a little AI reconstructed video of Hitler in his speech, translated from German into English. We'll get into some of that more tomorrow. But what I want to show y'all is, hold on one second. Hold on. How do I hold on. Why is it so small like that? That nigga be killing. Hey, he be killing it, man. But the question is, you dig what I'm talking about? That is a good question. The OG asks, why him? Right? And that's the dope thing about OWASP, right? Because we get that spiritual science, that unseen cause that cause the thing that we seen, right? The energy behind the action, right? And the crazy part is, this ain't really got nothing to do with Hitler. This is a channel from the false god Osiris himself, aka Chilemon. Yeah, that's what him mama named the false Osiris of Egypt. His real name is Chilemon. And then when you go back and look at some of them old representations of Osiris, and he has the Chinese eyes in the epicanthic fold, remember that his mama named him Chilemon, CHE-LE-MUNG. Sounds Asian to me. Right? But this is the crazy part. Right? Can y'all see that? Because it looked weird to me. It looks small. Right. Let me back up out of this. Because this looks weird. How do I okay. All right. There you go. It looks different now. All right. Okay. I can see it. This the dope part. Truth just is. Right? And it don't matter who telling it sometimes. Right? We get a lot of who, what, when, where, and why of the spirit world dropped from another God. Right? This is a channel. Right? They was channeling, doing what they was doing. This nigga popped up to talk. Mind you, it's 1984. This is from the Book of Radiance. You dig what I'm talking about? If y'all ain't got that, check that out. Sun Rays Radiance from the Elois group. Faith this. You dig what I'm saying? If you got Big Blue, I know it's like a little thing where they like you fill out this little paper or whatever, and once it come with your Amazon book, and once you send it back, they send you Radiance for free. Right? And it's a book dang near as big as OWASP. You dig what I'm talking about? Or Big Blue. You dig what I'm talking about? It's called the Book of Radiance or Sun Rays of Radiance. And this is one of the channels that they got way back in 1984. Right? Look who talking, y'all. But remember, we talking about Hitler today. So what the heck is this nigga Osiris got to say? How is Osiris in 2025 or 1984, right, connecting with a dude like Hitler? And how is this nigga Cosmon about to make this happen or make it make some sense 41 years later in 2025? You went from year 136, right, to year 177, Cosmon. You got to make this make sense. What is this nigga about to say about Hitler? Huh? And remember, they brought in Italy, right? And they brought in Japan, right? But remember, it was a whole bunch of stuff going on in the Middle East. Huh? Let's go look at some of these unseen causes behind what was going on. Now, mind you, before you get mad and get upset, I didn't make up none of this. I didn't make up none of this. You ain't know nothing about it. You ain't have an idea about it. You should just really, at this point, just be quiet and sit back and listen to some stuff that you ain't even never heard of before. channeling the false god Osiris. What is you talking about, Cosmon? Let the nigga speak for itself. Huh? From a special session in 1984 from the Elois. It's what they do. Huh? Clairvoyance, suices, huh? Clairaudience, sargasses. The peace and power of the ever-present resides with me, for I, Osiris, who? If y'all see right here that we talk about Osiris, huh? Thank you, JBC. Huh? That's the website to the Radiance. You dig what I'm talking about? I ain't capping. I ain't making up none of this. You dig what I'm talking about? This is why I always source up. Right? But it says, peace, the peace and power of the ever-present. Wait a minute, Osiris. At one time, you was claiming to be the ever-present. Huh? What happened, cuz? Now, look, if y'all see for absolute fact that who is talking, who claims to be talking is Osiris, hit me with a 1 in the chat. If y'all see that, hit me with a 1 in the chat. And let's walk through it. For I, Osiris. If y'all know it's Osiris now, hit me in the chat. Hit me with a 1 in the chat. For I, Osiris, have a mission to fulfill and a debt. What? To repay till the darkness of ages past have been washed from the face of the earth. What darkness? What debt? Right? And look, and my edifice of stone in the deserts of Egypt is broken and gone. What is the edifice of stone in the deserts of Egypt dedicated to the god Osiris called, y'all? Come on. What is the edifice of stone? Huh? An edifice is like a place of, nope, it's not the Sphinx. An edifice is like a building or a place of worship, a landmark. The pyramid. Correct. Osiris said, I got a mission to fulfill a debt to repay till the darkness of past ages have been washed from the face of the earth. What darkness? Huh? His doctrine, the Osirian doctrine. And my edifice of that doctrine that he made in stone in the deserts of Egypt is broken and gone. Till that's done, Osiris has a debt to repay. Right? Remember, it don't matter where truth come from, as long as it come. Watch this. Make no mistake in judging my motives or be misled by my errors in the past. Wait a minute. Nigga, you claim to be the light of all light, savior of man. What errors? In the past. For regardless of the burdens I bear, I am now one with all light. An emissary of the ever-present creator. As are millions who work with me under direction of the High Council. Mind you, this is 1984. What the heck? What the hell? Hold on. Let me go up. Okay. Make no mistake in judging my motives or be led by my errors in the past. For regardless of the burdens I bear, I am now one with all light, an emissary of the ever-present. You are emissary. You was claiming to be the ever-present at one time, though. Huh? See, anybody claiming to be all knowledge, all light, all that, you fake, right? Especially if it's a God, right? Now you're emissary of the ever-present. He cleaning up that mess that he made, called the Commission Doctrine. That's why it's dying. Huh? Emissary of the ever-present, as are now millions who work with me under the direction of the High Council. I will speak with you this day to enlighten you to the great thrust of effort we, meaning my host, along with countless other angelic hosts under the High Council, are making to prepare for changes that will soon be upon us in a few decades to come. There are great numbers of groups of angelic workers who work harmoniously with us in these efforts. Watch who with them, y'all. Each group being bound together by ideological background or common sufferings while in mortality or while they was living. Huh? So my hosts who labor with me, for example, are those who had worshiped me or worked to perpetuate my false doctrines of ages past. Now, if I ask a Commission, where is Osiris today?
Oh, Vicky, Osiris it's a knitter. It's not really a god. It's in you, Cosmon. It's you must understand. It's not really a god. It's an aspect of nature, Cosmon.
That's the one they like to use.
It's an aspect of nature.
No, it's supposed to be the maker of nature. Huh? If I asked you where is Osiris, give me a hymn on Osiris today, a new one. Huh? Where he at? What he doing? Where is Isis? Where are they today? We know them and their societies crumble and fail. Huh? Owaspy reveals that they all went to hell and been in hell knots. All of them. Even Osiris. But see, you don't burn in hell forever. Hell is a redemption process. Hell is that whooping you got. You did what I'm talking about for doing what you did wrong. This the reaping part. Because you sold all that BS on earth. You went out there, killed 37 niggas. 37 of them. You killed 37 of them niggas. Nigga, it's some price to pay for that. You don't just get away. Creator is not stopped by your death. No, you gonna get that work in this world or the next. But look, if I ask them, where is Osiris? Huh? Well, I got a side, regardless to what you say about it, I got a text purported to be from Osiris that say all that Commission shit, all of it's false, every bit of it. And the reason that your pyramids looking the way they do is not because of age, it's because they're purposely trying to destroy them, the gods themselves. It's a black mark on his soul for as long as it lived, because it proves the audacity that a man thought he could be the creator. It's living proof that a man thought he could be the creator. While my hosts who labor with me, for example, are those who had worshiped me, or worked to perpetuate my false doctrines of ages past. But now, this is what you don't get about creator. But now, through love and compassion, have covenanted with me to help erase the impediments we have placed. So people like Jabari and all them, the Ankhs of the world, and who duped by this Commission ideology and all that, trying to put that on them. That's what he's trying to destroy. They are proof that the dupe that he laid down thousands of years ago is still in effect now. This is why he's working to overcome that. He messed it up. He got to clean it up. But now, through love and compassion, have covenant with me to help erase the impediments we had placed in the way of the progress of all light. My host and I work closely at this time due to common interests and compatibility with several groups who have suffered at the hands of darkness, but whose strength of spirit now adds an awesome power to our armies of light. These include the host of who? Right off top. Big engine. Big Chi. This is why they call me the cloud kicker. Because it wasn't them. It was you. Kicking all that pie out the sky. This is why they're trying to really put you over there in Africa. Because who coming back today? Waking the people up. You think it's just no reason? You think there's no reason behind all these niggas just out of nowhere saying they are holy people, one, and an Indian, two? You think that just came out of nowhere? No, man. It's awakening, right? It's an awakening being pushed by the ancestors who have been our guardian angels. These include the host of the Algonquin Nation. What y'all didn't know is just like we got a republic today called the United States. The original name of the United States is Algonquin. We have 40 mighty Indian states. 23 years from 6,000 years old. 3953 BC, we already had America here. Yeah, the Iroquois, the American Constitution is borrowed from the Iroquois Constitution. Who the Iroquois get it from? They a warrior people. Remember, they got the whole thing with their peace treaty is that they stopped warring against each other. Where did they go? They went to the Algonquin peacemaker. Iwata. The United States, just like we know it today as a republic, is 6,000 years old, started by Aboriginal Americans right here. So when you say Algonquin, just know it's not just the people. It's the name for all people in the 40 contiguous states back then, 50 now, the 48 contiguous. Right? Y'all just say when I come in, man, it's gonna be the same thing way you got it set up now. huh? With states in a republic called a union. Uh-oh. The reason that the Europeans got it from the Iroquois is because they seen it work. Eh? It worked. It had been working for thousands of years. Huh? These included the host of the Algonquin Nation, whose great contribution as guardian host or ashars. Huh? How many of y'all been saying, oh, my ancestors didn't brought back the... You didn't even know. You was just saying that. Huh? Well, this is confirmation you was right. Now you know. And a guardian angel is called an ashar. Huh? The Algonquin Nation, whose great contribution as guardian angels or guardian hosts, called ashars, have strengthened our foothold greatly amongst individual households. Well, where is this at then? If the Algonquin Nation is doing it, don't this got to be in America? Don't your ashar tend to you based on your genetic link? Well, we know it's not the European, so we can wipe them totally out the slate. They not the Algonquins here, right? Now we got to look for a copper-colored, brown person with long black coarse negroidal hair who is spiritually and physically symmetrical, generally tall, right? He will be, because he's spiritually symmetrical, he would be your greatest orators, singers. They would be very spiritual, right? But because they're physically symmetrical, right, they would be great athletes and warriors. That only described one person in America. So who were the Algonquins, the guardian host to? The Negroes in America, the niggas, the aboriginals, the descendants of the Algonquins, the misnomered African American. That's the proof it's been watching over you. And ashar watches his genealogical line. You got to be kin to him. That's the whole purpose. You don't leave your babies when you die. That ain't right. You still get to watch over them. How? As guardian host. Ja dope. These include the host of the Algonquin Nation, whose great contribution as guardian host or ashars have strengthened our foothold greatly amongst individual households. Well, this is happening in America, right? If it's the Algonquins, this has to be happening in Guatemala, The host of the Society of Friends, a small group, but strong in soul power. And this is what, listen, watch this right here. I noticed this too. The host of the secret societies. A group greatly suppressed in ages past who kept truth and knowledge alive through trying times. You know who this sound like? They bad mouthing them, but you know who that sound like to me? That sounds like the Masons. I always be asking people, why are they scared of Masons? What they do? Like, oh, they some secret society ass niggas, and they be riding the goat Cosmon, and they be doing this Cosmon. I was like, you was in there? No, I wasn't in there, but my granddaddy, he was one of them niggas, and he was a tall Mason. Notice I ain't never get an answer to what the hell. Why are y'all scared of these Masons? What if a lot of them got the same treatment that the Indian got? They criminalized you, huh? Turned you to a demon, basically, and your information. Oh, the 33 is demonic, Cosmon. You gotta kill you. You say that 33, you gonna be a demon. Huh? Not knowing 33 is the key to tell time. They demonize all the good stuff and give you the bad stuff like it's good. Huh? Watch this. It sounds like the Masons. I ain't never heard nobody tell me what they did. Do anybody know? If y'all know what they did, other than like some spooky shit, like something you can prove, like, yo, the Masons did this, and they killed 37 children, and Cosmon, and these niggas is. You dig what I'm talking about? Give me something. Because I'm trying to figure out, is y'all just like scary? Right? Is y'all just scary because y'all just don't know what they do? I don't know, man. Let's go back up. Hold on. Gotta go back down. Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to figure it out. You dig what I'm talking about? But this sound like some Mason niggas. And it do, when I be talking to Masons, they be having a lot of knowledge. You dig what I'm talking about? Not saying that they didn't do what they did. I'm just saying I don't know what they did, but I know the world has generally demonized these niggas. But really, they been seeming to be pulling the strings behind the world, and they the niggas that don't fall in line. You know what I mean? With what the world is in the world people is talking about. They work from the inside. They like infiltrate stuff. You dig what I'm talking about? So you never kind of really know with these Masons. You dig what I'm saying? But it do sound like them. You dig what I'm talking about? The host of the secret societies, a group greatly suppressed in ages past who kept truth and knowledge alive through trying times. Also, the host of the the so-called, Jaja saying there's some cap in there. Huh? Osiris is saying, is some cap in that? He would have just said, and the host of the Holocaust. Huh? He said, the so-called Holocaust. Huh? And mind you, this is 1984. So it's only been 40 years since the war ended in 45. Right? It's only been roughly 40 years. 30 some years. Right? 37. Right? The host of the so-called Holocaust. And they are a recent addition to our armies of light, whose mortal suffering at the hands of who? The false god Triistis Y'all ain't never heard of this nigga. Let's go see what this nigga do and where he come from. Right? Because y'all ain't never heard of no triistis, but it's also kind of sound like triumvirate, triune. You dig what I'm talking about? Let's go see who this God is today. Who did he inspire? What this nigga do? Because look, it said they suffered at the hands of the false god triistis, who? The host of the so-called Holocaust. Uh-oh. Bring it home. Since we're talking about Hitler, right? Let's go see the behind the scene cause, the unseen cause of why him. A recent addition to our armies of light, whose mortal sufferings at the hands of the false god Triistis is known to you in mortal histories of recent past. We just looked at World War II, right? That's what he's talking about. We are also, listen, assisted by the host of Luamong, the false god Christ, right? If this is Christ, who is this? Oh, and if Christ is working against himself and for the Creator, who is behind the Christian and Catholic Church today? Dum, 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 dum. Watch this. We are also assisted by the host of Luamong, the false Christ, and host of the revolution, or the American Revolution, all them people that died, who worked together due to the debt that the former Luamong owes to the latter, the host of the revolution and the host of Luamong, that niggas who believed in Christ and all that stuff, that died thinking Jesus was going to come back and help them. Like, remember the people in the 1500s, 1400s, 1300s, 1100s, they was thinking Jesus was coming back any day. Died with that. Got made slaves in the heavens. So Luamong has a debt to pay to these people because he is the people who is inspiring people in the Revolutionary War. Watch this. We are also assisted by the host of Luamong and the host of the Revolutionary War, or the American War, who worked together due to the debt the former owes, Luamong owes, to the latter, to the warriors who died in the war, caused by his instigation. Caused by whose instigation? Christ, Luamong's instigation, in precipitating the painful struggle for independence. While there are other groups working with us, I will not mention more by name for reasons of security. Look at that. But this is enough to demonstrate that we are here in great numbers and in countless divisions. Watch this. We, the Osirian hosts, are with you because our labors have been the redemption of spirits yet in darkness and the establishment of that foundation which will bring Cosmon into full fruition. When I, Osiris, was again placed in charge of my people after order was restored after that hell knot, I vowed I would engage the full force of my will to redeem the lowest of the low until the doctrines of darkness and selfishness would be forever erased from the face of our planet, and kingdoms of tyranny, such as that which I had created, would never again gain a position, would never gain a position of power over newborn souls again. Our efforts, in conjunction with other forces of redemption, as previously mentioned, were successful at first, and we had established a base of strength in favor of the I am, which was a degree unlike any since the flood. Our pleasure was short-lived because of the discordance created by several sub-gods who had been under Luamang and Kabbalactus, or Christ and Buddha. They had escaped our detection and control because they had kept their dark intentions quiet within their souls, and not even the most perceptive were able to read the hypocrisy of their thoughts until it was too late. Listen. Triistus, listen, y'all. Triistus, the false god, took a kingdom in Europe, which subsequently broke into smaller dissenting factions in that region. Watch this. Yiskau took a kingdom which also fragmented into smaller factions in the Far East. Feudal China, and also Japan, and North and South Korea. And watch this, right? So we see Triistus got a kingdom in Europe that broke into smaller dissenting factions. Did these factions get put back together? Watch this. In the Far East, we see who was in the Far East that was in that war? Japan. And watch this. Yeshua. Remember, Druidian demonic beings can take on any name. And watch this. And Yeshua, alias Winta, alias Michael. Don't they always confuse Michael with Yeshua, trying to say Jesus is Michael? I just heard somebody just say that not too long ago. But Winta, alias Yeshua, alias Michael, established himself in the what? In the Near East. His kingdom also fragmented into dissenting fractions. This is where you get your Sunni Shia wars and all that stuff. Fall of the Ottoman Empire, which was what? Muslim. Look how he playing both sides. He playing the Judaic side, and he playing the Christian side, and the Muslim side, because he would be taking the place of Allah today, Owinta. Now, Yeshua, alias Michael, established himself in the Near East. His kingdom also fractured into dissenting fractions, which set the stage again for conflicts that were to affect your earthly history for the past century. Remember this 1884 he's talking about. And try the ingenuity of the High Council most severely. We got World War I and II in that time. You dig what I'm talking about? Hold on. My bad. I'll keep jumping. We, the Osirian host, are with you. No, hold on. Well, I'm down here. Yeah, I'm down here. Those of you who understand the principles and unique qualities of the Cosmon era can appreciate the significance of the different nature of the false kingdoms that plague us and hamper our efforts at this time. Unlike eras past, in which a few vast and powerful usurpers of power plagued the lower heavens, in this era, we have great numbers of very small fractions that appear, proliferate, and subdivide, much like small brush fires that flare almost without warning after the major blaze has been extinguished. These small kingdoms have been appearing in greater number, in greater and greater numbers since the blaze of my kingdom. Since Egypt, since the fall of Egypt, and others like it were extinguished at the end of the last era. Only to be supplanted by the small brush fires of Payah. These are your Mormons and your Latter-day Saints. The Moroni guy, his real name Payah. Sayawan, these are your Swedenborgs. These people go on to be your Universalists. They go on to be also your Protestants, your different denomination of Protestants brought about by Swedenborg and this false god, aka the Lord, called Sayawan. Yep. Right. So they putting out fires like Christ, Allah, Buddha, and Brahma, just for other little small guys to pop up and say, "Oh, I'm Christ." No, I'm Christ. And others followed in their wake, right? The importance of this condition in the light of this new era is that they are easier to subdue when the Etherian forces are brought into play, as they will be in a very short time. Our major object at this moment, as it has been for the last century, is to see that these numerous annoyances do not create too much mischief and impair the progress of our operations, and to attempt to clear and prevent the reformation of the numerous knots that have been appearing as a result of the forming and dissolution of the various and sundry false kingdoms or religions. Some knots are of major proportion beyond your wildest imaginings, and on a few we have still only scratched the surface. Dang. They said they've been working the last 100 years. These major knots are over parts of Central Europe and the Middle and Far East. Ooh-wee. The big knots are over in Europe, in the Middle East, and the Far East. Makes sense. As yet, watch this, North Guatemala or North America is free of all but minor knots. And those in South Guatemala, right, in South America, while they are numerous, are quite small. By far, the largest and most vexatious of these numerous kingdoms was formed through the malevolent will of Triestis, who took dominion over an area extending several thousand miles square above Central Europe. but primarily focusing attention on the area now known as Germany. Come on, lock it back in then, Cosmon. Make it make sense to him. Remember, we talking about Hitler. Watch this. This false god focused his attention on the area now known as Germany, which had been the place of his birth. Listen, over 1,700 years previous. So back in the 200s, 100s, first century, second century AD, this false god, Triistus, right, who would have been about 1,800 years older at this time, still on earth. This nigga first century, second century, born in Germany. So he born about the 200s AD. This nigga ain't even old. Which had been the birthplace of his place of his birth over 1,700 years previous. From right? This is in the 1900s. So it had been born in Germany sometime in the 200s AD, right? Which had been his birthplace over 1,700 years previous. His popular attraction, right? How he got people to rock with him, right? Was largely due to his ability to exploit the selfish interests of his followers, who? The Germans, and their hatred for those whose heritage was unfamiliar or did not conform to their religious preferences. We know who they are. Not only the Jews, but the niggas. Oh yeah, we have to go get into them Buffalo Soldiers and Harlem Hellfighters, right? Are they really, many of them from America, right? Part of those 6 million, quote unquote, Jews that got killed in Germany. Did they go out there and wipe out a generation of men? In the backdrop of war. We're going to get into that, though. That's a whole nother show. His popular attraction, how he duped these niggas in the following, right, was due to his ability to exploit the selfish interests of his followers, the German people, and their hatred for those whose heritage was unfamiliar or did not conform to their religious preferences. His ability to influence, listen, Triistus's ability to influence a highly mediumistic mortal in Germany and manipulate the masses until his pawn, this mediumistic mortal, right, was raised to a position of dictator, is evident in your mortal history. So the O is revealing that who Triistus, the false god, was working through was a medium. We know that is who? Who is that? Who is the medium in Germany that rises to dictator in the 30s and 40s? At the end of the war, beginning of the Second World War. That's what we're talking about. Who was the dictator over the Germans? Hitler. Hitler. Huh? His ability to influence a highly mediumistic mortal and manipulate the masses until his pawn, Hitler, was raised to a position of dictator is evident in history. Period. We know who we talking about. This ain't no mistaken identity. If you just learn right now, well, first of all, you need to look up the Vril Society, VRIL, right? The boy wasn't, you dig what I'm talking about, no newcomer to this. He was clairvoyant. This is why he was so magnetic, right? Because look, he manipulated the masses through this medium who was his pawn. Attached that resentment to a battery, and now it's go, 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 go. Till he was raised to a position of dictator. Watch this, though. It get deeper. Yeast Gao, whose dominion was over the Far East, right? Japan, China, all that, formed an alliance. This is why they call this the axis of evil. You ever wonder, why did Japan get in that? Now you're seeing why. It's the unseen cause behind what's seen. Yeaskow, whose dominion was over the Far East, formed an alliance with Triestis due to their common interest for conquest, and war soon ensued in the heavens and the earth. Triestis was eventually engulfed in the hell of his own making shortly before the fall of Berlin on the mortal plane, while Yeaskow, being more resourceful and clever, escaped the chaos when his dominions fell in Japan and escaped to the land across the sea in East Asia. Where is that, y'all? China. North Korea. South Korea. Across the sea in East Asia, where he has continued to be a discordant influence throughout those countries to this day, just as Michael continues to be in the Mid-East, your so-called Allah today. Allah is also Yeshua. Makes sense. But watch this. Watch who this Michael, this Yeshua, this Allah come to America and found. Watch this. Regarding the conditions just described, our purpose, or that of the High Council at this time, is not to forcefully contain the activities of any of these false kingdoms, but to provide an example and viable alternative to those souls who are of a high enough grade to distinguish the differences between their kingdoms and our free heavens, where growth and knowledge are offered instead of lies and tyranny. We also occupy much time dissolving the endless newly formed knots, as well as continuing the long, complex, and dangerous task of removing the layers of tangled souls over the major knots in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. The task of curtailing the detrimental activities of Yeaskow, Michael, and numerous other, This would be your Allah and your Christ in the Middle East, right? This is why a Jew can attack a Syrian or an Iranian or an Iraqi, right? When in a sense they say they praise the same God. Why? Because it is the same God. He's making them destroy themselves. They don't understand that it don't matter because you're praising him, and when you die, you gonna become a willing slave. That's why war. It literally pads his stats. The task of curtailing the detrimental activities of Yiscale and Michael and the numerous other sources of disbelief in the I Am will be the task of the Etherians, who will begin the dismemberment of the lower heavens, along with setting the foundation of a new dispensation commencing in 153 after Cosmon. Uh-oh. Anybody know what happened in 153 after Cosmon? Let me break it down. Cosmon era starts in 1848. You add 100 years to that, you at the end of that war we talking about, right? You add 53 years to that, you in 2001. Anything happened in 2001? Where something got tore down? Mysteriously? Anything in 2001. Make it up. Shout out to the undergrads. Wait till y'all hear this music these boys got. Oof. Faith is joints. Ooh, I'm dying to play it. I'm dying to play it. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm dying to play this. Anything get tore down in 2001, y'all? See, they be talking, but they can't even tell time. That's how you tell time, y'all. The dismemberment of the lower heavens, along with setting the foundation of a new dispensation commencing in 2001, or 153 years after the Cosmon era. Our efforts will be augmented as the next decade draws to a close by another brief dawn of light. But this one will be of particular significance in that it will provide our Etherian visitors with a vehicle through which a new foundation can be laid that will never again be eradicated. It will provide an ever-increasing avenue of communication between the organic plateaus and those who are organic in purpose on the mortal plane. The Etherian presence will cause a resurgence of altruism and compassion, particularly amongst the youth, and will cause substantial changes to occur in cultural patterns and lifestyles. This cultural transformation will evolve into a new dispensation, which will grow in strength through the generations that follow. But in this case, the doors of communication between the heights and the depths will be held open, never to close again. So we know what date they talking about. 2048. 2048. Right? By this, we mean not the ability to communicate, as was the case in the first year of Cosmon, but quality and quantity of communication. Ooh-wee. So basically, y'all gonna go from them walkie-talkies to this 10G. You're gonna be able to tap in, tap in like the ions. This is gonna be the ion mind state, basically. You're gonna be able to interact with the angelic beings around you. But the quality and quantity, so it's going to be more of them, right? But the quality going to be better. So y'all going from basically what do you call that when you had the little SOS pad? What do you call them things? Oh man, it's slipping my mind. And you know, they used to go to the railways. Oh man, hey, wait till y'all hear this, undergrads, dog. Wait till y'all hear these undergrads. Faith is joints. Fire. Fire. They did the whole book of Owaspi. Raps. Hot joints. I want to play it so bad. But I ain't gonna throw it off. You did what I'm talking about. But wait till the undergrads come out, man. Dope. You did what I'm talking about. Real hip hop. With that Jehovih swang in there, boy, that hard. It's hard. Wait till y'all hear this. Hard. For the channels, right? For the channels of discourse between our realms and yours have been noticeably lacking for many decades. But individuals with the talent to see and to hear spiritually have been born and are being born in greater numbers. And those talents will become more and more evident as the earth plane spiritual activity increases during the next decade in conjunction with the events previously described. Look particularly for the increase in psychic activity amongst those born in the vicinity of 100 years after Cosmon, 1948. Those are your baby boomers. You know what? At the same time, the war ended. You know what? At the same time, A and B blood types started producing O's. Lukey talk. That have for thousands of years never produced O's. Now they're producing O with the RH factor. O positives. A's and B's. These your baby boomers. Born 1948 and up. Your true first. Right? And truly Cosmon children. Right? That very first generation, which is really the fourth. Right? It's really the fourth generation. Or the third, the end of the third, beginning of the fourth. That generation runs between 1948 and 1981. So if you were born in between 1948 and 1981, you are first generation Truly and truly Cosmon. If you were born between 1981 and 2014, you second generation. Truly Cosmonian. Turned on. Right? You got all the gear. It's just time to turn it on. You was born from 2014 to today, which is an 11-year cycle. We also in the sun cycle. Then they tell you we was gonna be bombarded by gamma rays from the sun, and it was gonna cook our atmosphere. Didn't they tell you all that this year? What I tell you, that we was gonna be here today, after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, and what nothing gonna change. Same thing with 31 Atlas. Can't just make it up. So look particularly for the increase in psychic activity amongst those born in the vicinity of 1948 or 100 years after the Cosmon era. And after, remember that these forecasted events begin to occur. They will not immediately be evident on your plane in corporality except through the eyes of those with suis and the ability to receive our communications. First, events occur in the spirit realm. This is why I read this. Right? Remember, we was trying to figure out the unseen cause. Well, now we understand, as Jehovah has already explained to the faith, is that the unseen rules the scene. This is why your spirit dominates over your flesh. And when your spirit leaves your body die. It ain't alive no more. Why? Because first, events occur in the spirit realm. And in time, their effects filter down to the corporeal plane. For as above, so below. But not necessarily simultaneously. Headshot, hold on. Rewind, selector. First, events occur in the spirit realm. The unseen thing happens. You have the thought before you move your hand. First, the events occur in the spirit realm. And in time, their effects filter down to the physical plane or the corporeal plane. For as above, so below. So below, as above. But not necessarily simultaneously at the same time. Ooh-wee. That's a hold on. Wait a minute. That's a duking. That's a duking. Hold on. Wait a minute. That's a duking. Ooh, Cosmon, hit yourself. But not necessarily simultaneously. It is from these events that your Cosmon day, for the faith is, we know what's up. You dig what I'm talking about? It is from these events that your Cosmon day, touched on elsewhere, shall arise. But the exact time and its significance I cannot reveal in writing, but only by word of mouth when the time is appropriate. We hope that this answers what if Cosmon Day, truly enacted Cosmon Day, turns out to be the same day Jaja call us out the cities. Truly Cosmon Day. We hope that this answers some of your questions you have been repeating to us. And where you may feel detail has been inexcusably lacking, we hope that it will excuse us due to necessity and limits in time, since optimum conditions for communication are at best fleeting. Right? I say they ask a question. This is the Elois speaking with the Spirit. They say, why do you commune with us in such a personal manner? They ask you that, right? Look what he say. He say, I do not come personally, but with hosts of thousands, and often do not come personally, but by proxy. Huh? So if you ever get to talking to a spirit and it's just one spirit, that's how you know it's demonic and it ain't from the Creator. They come in thousands of packs like an army. Ain't it easier for 10 men to do a thing than it is for one? Well, there we go. This is why they move in armies like that. And hosts of thousands. And he sent a proxy. He sent his homeboy, the store runner, to deliver the message. The swift messenger. Yo, Cosmon said, come on down here, man, when you're done, all right? All right. It's just like Cosmon said it. We are bound by our labors to take to task projects that require us to make excursions to the lower heavens. Wow. We come to these sessions because you have been one with us in our work. And because we wish to dispel erroneous thoughts about us. Thoughts are things, and when mortals send us thoughts that are supportive, it lightens our burden and eases our task. We have at times been confused by the Cosmon calendar. When does or did Cosmon begin? Right? The commencement for record keeping purposes may be considered to have begun in conjunction with the primitive communications at Hydesville in Gautama, 1848, y'all. 1848. Some individuals have complicated their interpretations unnecessarily and made the revelations in Owaspy more cryptic than they actually are. It's 1848, y'all. March 31st. Watch this. When does the calendar year end in the heavenly realms? Is it in conjunction with the winter or the summer solstice? Watch this, because Owaspy does have a version where they get this wrong, and it's because of an editor, an editor who thought he had it wrong, but he should have just listened to the Spirit because the Spirit told him right the first time. Watch this. The correct time is in conjunction with the winter solstice. The passage in the first edition of Owaspy was in error. This is due to an error in the transcription, which is corrected on subsequent editing while under control. This was due to an error in transcription, which was corrected on subsequent editing while under control. Can you tell us more about Michael and Yisgao? Watch this. Winta or Michael aka Yeshua, also aka Allah, Hamdulillah, as he prefers to be called, has been most ambitious to broaden his sphere of influence on more than one portion of the planet. Watch this. His efforts for aggrandizement in the Mid-Eastern area have been a significant factor in the expansion of mortal conflicts in that area. That Jewish, Palestinian, Jewish, Iraqi, Jewish, Iranian. Primarily by using his influence to fuel mortal conflicts without partiality in favor of either side, so that maximum damage might be inflicted. See? He don't care. I'll get your dumb ass either way. The chaos that results increases the ease with which he can control an area, and of course, increases the number of ignorant souls placed under his oppressive dominion. His ability to contrive events in his favor had been an important factor in the precipitation of the Egyptian-Israeli conflicts. Until the imbalance of his power became too great, and losing interest caused him to turn his attention towards more lucrative spoils. So guess what happened? They left Egypt. He left Egypt stanking. This is how Egypt got caught blindsided by the Israelis. This is why they got the Suez Canal right now. The Jews run the Suez Canal, not the Egyptians no more. Why? Because the false god lost interest, caused him to turn his attention to more lucrative spoils. And guess what? That's exactly what happened to Egypt. They lost focus, right? The Israelis bombed them niggas, took their planes up out of the sky before they could get one up. It was a wrap. It was over that quick. His efforts to instill the maximum mortal damage has been more effective in Lebanon, in Iran, in Iraq. His taste for anarchy, however, has also taken a toll on the unity of his own kingdoms, resulting in many of his more charismatic followers abandoning his aid and starting their own kingdoms. Sunni, Shia, in close proximity to his, which has further aided the proliferation of conflict in those regions of the planet. Michael has been perceptive enough to see that his own security could become precarious, as he planned to risk all on his bid for control of the Middle East Holy Lands. Watch this. Consequently, as a ploy to provide a secure haven, should those plans fail and force him to make a hasty retreat, he endeavored, listen, this is the nigga Allah, Yeshua, Michael from the Middle East, right? The nigga Allah from the Middle East, listen, he endeavored to establish a small community in the relative stability of North Guatemala. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Was there a Islamic, right, based, now Islamic, and it would be Islamic and Christian. It would have both. right? But a Islamic-based movement that comes in the 30s and 40s. Is there an Islamic-based movement that pops up in North America in the 30s and 40s? If it's one, hit me in the chat with it. Is there an Islamic group that pops up in North America in the 30s and 40s? If so, who is it? JBC on y'all head. It's the NOI, the Nation of Islam. Uh-oh. Y'all see why they doing the Christ and the Islam shit today? They God was playing that from the get-go. Now we know who he is. Huh? AKA Michael, AKA Yeshua, AKA Allah, AKA Winta. Now watch this. Why did he come to America? Why did Michael come to America and set up a Islamic group in North America called the Nation of Islam? Why? Having seen the success of Payah, the Mormons and the Latter-day Saints, Seventh-day Adventists, and Sayawan, the Protestants. All they religions, Calvinism, Protestantism, Baptist, all that, originally start from Sayawan, or the god of Swedenborg. Why he come to North America? He seen the success of Payah and Sayawan and others who determined to provide his own, and he determined to provide his own revelation, which was successfully accomplished and has provided a modest following for him over the past several decades. Remember, this is 1984. It's only would be war ended in 45, right? You could say 47, but let's just say 45, right? It would only be 40 years. So these people would have been came in the last 40, 50 years. Right? That narrows it down to really only one people. Right? That's the Nation of Islam. He has provided a modest following for him over the past several decades on this side of the globe, with Minister Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Master Farrar, Muhammad, and his teacher. You dig what I'm talking about? He had a successful. He gave a revelation. He did. Can't nobody say he didn't. He did. He provided his own revelation, which was successfully accomplished and has provided a modest following for him over the past several decades on this side of the globe. Again, the High Council has chosen not to interfere in this aspect of his activities, though its progress and expansion are carefully monitored. Yiscau is the guy in the Far East. Efforts have been much more structured and methodical. Unlike Michael's taste for anarchy, Yiscau has stressed simple conquest. And after firmly establishing itself above the area known to you as North Vietnam, Trump called him Rocket Man. He has been very successful in expanding his influence throughout Southeast Asia. Because Yiscau's efforts were more methodical, his position is less precarious than that of Michael and carefully supervised. He has had much greater loyalty, then therefore less attrition caused by his splintering of smaller factions within his kingdoms. Remember, however, that each time the Etherian influence touches the lower heavens of the earth, there are major changes in the course and flow of mortal histories. This era of Cosmon is to be no exception, for the speed and momentum of the cultural transformations now upon us will only intensify as our Etherian overseers, exalted wills, press down upon our tiny planet. This is what they misnomer in his life. We who have your planet and its heavens in our charge are just as awed by the Etherian presence as are humble children before a wise teacher. Much that they have planned is not information privileged to us, and much that we are told we do not fully appreciate as we lack their greater magnitude of comprehension. We will, however, elaborate on that which we can. The events we are about to experience commencing in 2001 and 153 after Cosmon are in conjunction with a brief Dan of 50 years. Dum, 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 dum. And will provide the appropriate setting for our Etherian visitors that will lead to the beginning of a major stepping stone toward the major years from 2001. That's the number of years to the 200, and it's Dan. The Dan is 4 years and some months. That'd be like 51, 52. So are we in a brief Dan right now? The events we are experiencing commencing in 2001 are in conjunction with the brief Dan of 50 years and will provide the appropriate setting for Ethereum visitors that will lead to the bringing of a major stepping stone towards the mature development of this era. Wow. Right? And with that, we're just going to leave it at that. But now we know why Hitler was important, why he was chosen, why he was so magnetic, why he was able to do so much in so little time. because it's the unseen power behind him that made him a threat. You dig what I'm talking about? Anybody want to come up? You know what I mean? Come kick it with your cousin. You dig what I'm talking about? Anybody want to come kick it with your cousin? Yup. Master Farrar Muhammad. Yup. Yup. The Moors are included. Yup. Yup. The Ahmadiyya movement. Yup. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. But I think we without, further ado or just kicking a dead horse, we seen that they did lie about Hitler. I want to play some more stuff, but I don't want to wear it out. And you dig what I'm talking about. It's creeping up on 12. I'm going to let this sink in. You dig what I'm talking about. It's a lot to take in. You dig what I'm saying? It's a lot to take in. But I think there ain't but one way to truly end this. You dig what I'm saying? Hold on one second. There ain't but really one way to truly end this, y'all. And let me see. Let me take it this way, right? I want you to breathe in, right? Let that light in, because I'm Cosmon and I'm out. I didn't think there's no better way for us to take it out than this right here. Let's go. Heil Hitler.
Man, these people took my kids from me, then they froze my bank account. I got so much anger in me, got no way to take it out. Think I'm stuck in the matrix, where the fuck's my nitrous? Yes, I am a cook, I like when people fuck on my bitch. The shit that I'm posting on Twitter, they telling me, hey, don't say that. How niggas can't see me in public, I'm driving an all-chrome Maybach. With all of the money and fame, I still can't get my kids back. With all of the money and fame, I still don't get to see my children. Niggas see my Twitter, but they don't see how I be feeling. So I became a Nazi, yeah, bitch, I'm the villain.
Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. All my niggas Nazis, nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? All my niggas Nazis, nigga, how Hitler?
She wanna fuck in Japan, I put the chrome on the Benz.
Nigga, how Hitler?
She reaching down in my pants, she got the world in her hands.